Tonight is January 1st, 2011, ringing in the new year with a Dungeons & Drogans session. This will be session 27. Last session, session 26. The three Drogans that were left behind in Shadowfell Keep awoke prisoners to the hobgoblins. They heard talk about being sold into slavery to the Blood Reavers. Coltaine returned to Winterhaven. Because of his continued service to the town, Lord Padrig lent 4 of his 10 town guards, the Winterhaven regulars, to help mount a rescue mission. At Rofton's Inn, Coltaine exchanged some banter with an elven ranger, who said his cousin was taken by a cult, and introduced himself as Wintier the Thunder Thief. The two adventurers agreed to work together. Coltaine, Wintier, and the 4 regulars descended to the 2nd level of Shadowfell Keep and engaged 2 hobgoblins guarding the main chamber. The captive Drogans heard shouting, and their guards rushed out to the battle, so Zook and Rekoj took the opportunity to wiggle out into the main chamber, where they were untied by the regulars. A horde of hobgoblin reinforcements then joined the melee. Zook tore out a hobgoblin's throat, then burned 3 hobgoblins to a crisp with a flame seed, proving that the moment Zook is freed, he starts kicking ass. During the battle, a hobgoblin tossed 1 regular down the well. A hobgoblin shaman sent a 2nd regular flying down the well, while a hobgoblin archer slayed the last 2 regulars. It was then that Autumn managed to free herself from her binds and entered the battle. Rekoj managed to knock the shaman into the well, but was then pummeled by 3 hobgoblins. 1 broke his leg, and the goliath collapsed unconscious. By round 11, 1 Drogan was down, 5 hobgoblins remained. Autumn stabilized Rekoj. 3 hobgoblins then smashed Wintier down to 4 hit points. The hobgoblin archer pegged Coltaine down to 6. Then he strung another arrow and said, "Drop it," referring to the halberd. By round 16, 4 hobgoblins remained, none of which were bloodied. 1 Drogan was down, 2 were on the brink of collapse. Things were not exactly looking good. But then Autumn and Zook took out 2 hobgoblins, evening the odds a little. Then Coltaine fumbled on his daily power, his halberd flying out of his hands. The archer laughed at him and lowered his bow. A hobgoblin then knocked out Wintier, and just as things were looking pretty grim, the archer walked past the unarmed Coltaine, who caught him by surprise and shoved him down the well. By round 19, the battle was really coming down to the wire. 1 hobgoblin remained standing, but he was not bloodied. Coltaine stood at 1 hit point, Autumn at 8 hit points, and Zook at 8 hit points. The hobgoblin held his flail over Wintier's head and said, "Surrender now or I'll smash this one's head." The Drogans called the hobgoblin's bluff, or they just really didn't care about Wintier because they attacked and managed to kill the hobgoblin. The battle was over, or so we thought. Coltaine peered down the well to find the archer climbing the rope. So Zook decides to pull the rope and hobgoblin up and out of the well for some mysterious reason. The hobgoblin drew a longsword and slashed Zook down to -1 hit points, threatening to turn the tide of what was an assured victory. Coltaine and Autumn, with less than 10 hit points between them, managed to take down the hobgoblin. Coltaine stabilized Zook, and the session, after 5 hours and 23 rounds of combat, ended in the wee hours of the morning.
I still don't understand why he hit me, I helped him, he should give me a hug.
I vote we sacrifice Zook.
Oh, it's because I'm a gnome, right?
I was thinking of just kicking him down the well,
Hence sacrificing Zook.
Exactly.
Wouldn't sacrifice entail we get something from his death?
Such as extreme satisfaction.
Yes.
Oh, I see how it is. I'm all fine and dandy when I need to use my flame suit, but other than that, yeah, I'm useless, right?
No, it's just the element of you trying to kill us after we only just survive.
Hey, because of me, you're getting his longsword and his armor and his longbow of awesomeness, okay?
His weapons of
You're
mundanity.
getting some fat loot, yes.
Alright guys, so what do? We've got Zook unconscious, Rekoj unconscious, Winter unconscious, Coltaine at 1 hit point, Autumn wounded, and a ton of corpses all over the place. What do Coltaine and
Should
Autumn
toss
do?
the corpses all down the well.
Coltaine pushes Autumn into the well, along with the bodies of his companions, loots everyone, and gets the hell out of there.
I second that option.
You realize you're getting thrown down the well too, right?
Meh, not a big bummer.
Autumn, Coltaine, what do you guys do?
Say we drag our allies into one of these, the room off to the west with a door, and while they always take a short rest.
That seems reasonable.
Isn't
'Cause
one
we
of the
need-
orcs still unconscious though?
Well, that's a good point. Some of them look like they're not dead. That's probably my fault. I was assuming that you'd killed all the ones I knocked unconscious.
No, just the first.
Maybe we should just kill the rest of them. By
As you
shooting them
guys
down the
are
well.
deliberating over this, in-game time is elapsing. FYI.
Okay, we drag our allies into the safe room. We tie up all the unconscious hobgoblins in the room with the spider. Autumn watches over them while Coltaine takes a rest.
There are actually 3 beds in the western room, one for each of your allies.
I think that's a wonderful place to put them. It shows that I care, that we care.
We care?
Alright, now point at the hobgoblins that you want to put into the spider room.
And there's one up here that's already in the spider room.
And how are you going to tie them up?
You could tie them up to the bars of the spider cage. No, the spider might chew it.
I've got 49 feet of rope with me. That should be enough to tie 3 hobgoblins into some dreadfully uncomfortable position.
But there's 4 of them.
4 hobgoblins.
Are you going to tie them all together? So that they're all bound to each other, you don't have to do any cutting of the rope?
Yes.
You're going to use all the rope?
Bad feeling about that.
Since I don't feel like breaking the rope up, say yes.
Can we douse them in oil in case they decide to try to break free? And then I can light them on fire.
Do you have oil?
No, I'm hoping somebody else does.
How about you just stand ready to stab them in the eyes if they do anything suspicious?
Fine. I should probably heal though.
Also, I'd like to take the big pile of gear, if possible. Some of the more important items, maybe like armor and weapons, to the room with our allies so they can equip themselves when they awake.
Are you going to take everything, or just weapons and armor?
We'll just start with weapons and armor and leave the rest for them when they're better.
And by weapons, I presume you mean main weapons, so you're not going to grab all of Rekoj's arsenal?
Yeah, I'm not gonna take all of Rekoj's friggin' weapons. Just his battle axe.
Alright, then you guys go into the room with them.